Okay.
We're going live. It's in the
All
top
right.
right corner. Connection is good.
Because
We
I
are
see
live.
live. I see that's written live right there.
Yeah, we're live. We're live. Um, Here's a little baby intro. We're talking today on a Scorpio moon. I'm here with Tami. She is coming straight out of not Las Vegas, but Israel. And that's my little joke for her. She's actually living in Israel right now. Tami, that said, how you
Hi.
feeling? We're currently live. This is your first time. I'm going to do my best to make this the most comfortable experience as possible. But with all that said, we're looking to really use the energy of the Scorpio and the South Node. What does that mean? It means that, at least for me, I'm going to use my personal platform for others, okay, interpersonal Scorpio sign, to share those deeper parts of themselves, those parts of themselves that they're really ready and willing to rise above, understanding that Scorpio is the house of where all traumas happen, literally. I mean, other than like 12th house in some capacity. I see some love from
Yeah.
Alabama coming in on the chat. Hey, Kelsey, how you doing? It's good to hear and see from you. So we're really going through emotional healing today, and recognizing what it means to have the North Node in Taurus, so that we can kind of step into harmony. So with all of that said, I feel like my internet connection is going really slow on that half. So I'm going to close that down for the moment. I'm glad that that's live. We are live. Tami,
Hi.
what's going on? You told me a little bit about what you do and how you step into schools and just different organizations, and you speak about your story. If I was to say your story, what is your story? I mean, maybe you can also help us by, like, maybe what placements do you have that sits in Scorpio? And then maybe we
My
can kind of paint.
ascendant, my
Mm-hmm.
ascendant is Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
I have the moon, Venus, Mars, and Mercury in Scorpio. Yeah. That's like
I didn't
I'm mostly kind of Scorpio, I guess. I mean, I don't even know where my Sagittarius is. I kind of look around for a Sag. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's got a lot of stuff, a lot of other things that are the Sag in me. I mean, that's my sun sign, but I'm just so Scorpio. I mean, I'm ascendant Scorpio, and my whole life has been, wow, like, from what I understand about my life, because, a lot of my friends are not alive today. A lot of people who went through what I went through decided to check out.
Mm.
Yeah. I just had a friend that checked out a few months ago, and she left a 15-year-old boy. She died from prostitution and drugs. The way I see my Scorpio life is I went very deep into dark places, basically since I was a baby.
Mm.
For what I understand today is, I don't blame anything or anyone for what I went through in my life. I know that there's a certain part of me in my soul that, of course, not the little Tami, the little girl Tami did not choose, the human little girl Tami did not choose to go through XYZ, which I'll get into. But I know that a bigger part of me, which is my higher self soul, kind of chose a certain path for me, to go through a lot of hardships, but it was for me to overcome, and then to come speak to you people today about how I overcome all this shit, which is pretty amazing, for me, because I did go through quite a bit. Today, I went through incest with my father. I have memories since the age of 3. but I have vivid memories since the age of 3. But then I have these, I don't know how you say mupal in English, hold on. When you don't see it clearly, those kind of memories from when I was even younger than 3. So I don't really get into them because they're more, I don't know. My imagination goes there. I don't know what happened exactly, but the very vivid memories are the age of 3 till about 5. At the age of 4, I asked my mom to help me. You know, when you're 4 years old and you got to tell your mom that your father is coming into your room and messing with you, then it takes out a lot of energy, a lot of energy you have to put into that moment, and you have expectations. And my mom is a beautiful soul, but she wasn't ready for it back then. I forgave my mom. She couldn't help me. I actually kind of saw her like she was in a bubble. And energetically, I was very connected as a kid. And I knew that she wasn't there. But it put me into shock. The way that she reacted was a non-reaction, which put me into shock, which put me into the life that I lived. See, what I understand, you know, going through a lot of hell growing up, when you suffer, you ask why, right? It's kind of like a natural thing. Why the hell am I going through this, right?
Yeah.
And usually when you're suffering, you don't really get many answers. It's very hard to get an answer because all you hear is the pain. And that's why it's kind of a tragedy, because up to the age of 7, this has been studied by a lot of people. What you absorb as a child until the age of 7 kind of decides the people you'll meet in your life, the husband or wife, the friends you'll make, what you think about yourself, what you think about others, the places you'll go to. It's kind of like you have this kind of like a road. I'm talking about certain things like incest. It kind of puts you on some kind of a track. And when you have a lot of other things absorbing at that age, so like for me, it wasn't one trauma, it was like a few traumas. It was this age with my father, a year later with my mother, and then, you know, it just kept going. It's like a snowball, you know, it kept going. And I kept getting hit by all these situations, you know, boom, 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 and you can't get up, right? And you start believing certain things. You know, I couldn't study at school, you know. When you're a kid and you go through things like this, when all you know about yourself is survival, you have an amount, every human has an amount of energy they can put into you know, into a day, right? So when you're a little kid and you went through this horrific thing like incest over and over again at such a young age, and you have to learn survival, you need to put energy into survival. You can't put energy into school. So when I failed everything in school, you know, that categorized me. And that was another thing that it kind of like, you know, society kind of put on me as well. You know, I'm not blaming society. I'm not blaming the school system. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying, wake up. I'm saying, you know, the way I see it, not everything is right for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that maybe this school system in this kind of way, this kind of, you know, this would have been right. For somebody else, it might not be right. You know, I have a very, very sensitive boy, very, very sensitive, beautiful boy. He's 15. He's a lot like me. He's even more sensitive than I was. And it took a while, but finally I realized that the regular school system is not good for him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He needs something that, you know, to match. I believe that school systems should match the kids and not the kids take Ritalin and all kinds of psychiatric drugs to make them fit into the system, which doesn't want to change in many places, many schools.
Sure. And those are definitely grand scale. I'm almost like, what do I want to say about that specifically? Those are like from the Ritalin piece, right? Like that's a bigger scheme of let's just say people. We're gonna leave them out. We're gonna say people who understand the power of children. And when I say the power of children, I mean the innocence, I mean the creativity, and how the creativity of a child can literally endanger the entire infrastructure that has been created in today's society that allows us to stay robotic. And this is one of the simpler ways I've been able to understand this. Doesn't make it okay. That doesn't mean that I agree with it. But as one of the simpler ways to understand, like, why are children so afflicted, and dosed up and fattened up and all those other things. It's ultimately so that they don't have the mental capacity for their creativity to blossom at that naivety, that level of naivety that we all want to connect with, you know, that inner child that all of us want to embrace, and not keep hidden, not keep locked away in a closet or forgotten or never even experienced, as if that's worse or less worse. It really doesn't matter. It all sucks all together. So on that front, so let me ask you this. So today is a Scorpio moon. We scheduled this and we were like, I remember it being like, oh wow, like, yeah, like it's gonna be like at 29 degrees on top of that. So it's gonna hit its climax maybe within minutes to an hour. And today, right now, I looked at it and it's on the 28th degree. And I had took a little baby look at your chart, which I have right here. I would normally share it on I don't want to show your chart on the screen. But for whatever reason, my computer's going slower. So I was kind of referring here. Right now, the chart looks like it's at, the moon is at 28 degrees. All right. And
wow.
If I was to, which can be related to the mother. Okay, the moon is the mother already. All right, so certain revelations, certain things being revealed about the mother. But 28, 12, 16, 12 is 4. This links back to the degree of the father. So, you know, this seemed to be one of the big things coming up. And I'm just really using this as an example of, you know, the first thing you chose to speak about today was the scenario, unfortunate scenario with your father, right? And it's like today we're talking South Node and Scorpio, all of our hidden secrets, right? Whether this was a secret or not, because I know you've talked about this in different groups.
No, I don't have any more secrets about who I am. That was like one of the I want to mention a few things about myself so that people will really understand what I'm talking about. Which was the incest, which led to drug abuse to take away the monster, right? Which led to prostitution, which led to psychiatric drugs. Up until a year ago, I was on seven pills a day of very strong psychiatric pills, 7 a day. Since the age of 16, I had maybe one time for 3 months in my life that I cut off the psychiatric drugs. And then a year ago, it was done. That's why I decided that I did go through a lot. I decided that I have a lot to give because I survived all this, you know, being without psychiatric, I'm without no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing, you know, and no psychiatric drugs. And I was in an Narcotics Anonymous. I was in Narcotics Anonymous for many, many years. I left Narcotics Anonymous. My message is basically everything anybody told me that I was or that I wasn't. I guess it's something inside of me. I'm proving them wrong. I'm proving that I cannot be squared or put into a system or into a catalog. Whoever tries, it usually doesn't work. I mean, I've been in all kinds of institutions, they never worked. The only thing that ever worked for me was when I went inside of Tami. And I have a whole lot to say about that, but I want you to, I kind of cut you off there.
No. That was the moment. You just hit the phrase. The phrase that every Scorpio is accustomed to, which is, let's say, going inside. But the difference is not every Scorpio will address everything that they discover. Like, we're going to discover some dark shit. We're going to discover some light shit, like some things that are beautiful. But the beautiful and the dark stuff that we discover, the difference is right now what's happening with this self-known Scorpio, aka all this stuff being fully revealed openly, right? Like openly. I don't know in many more platforms other than like YouTube, let's just say in the moment where like, we never know 5 years later who's going to watch this video because we openly shared and how they say it saved their life. Like some young girl who went through the same exact thing, who are currently on psychiatric medicine and drugs. I guarantee somebody right now watching is currently on some form of prescription. Guarantee it, especially with the primary population that I have being from America. And we know, even if we look at stats, like the US, the way they prescribe drugs is just like la 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 la. Yeah, it's like Skittles, you know, it's like
Skittles. I just want to say though, I'm not against psychiatric drugs. I'm not against drugs. I'm not against prostitution. I'm not against anything, right? I think that each person has to, you know, go through their own mission in life. I'm just saying I know all of these ways and I know another way. And I mean, I used to be late, like not take one of the pills on time. And a couple hours later, I would feel this like vacuum in my brain, like, you know, and I have to go run and get this pill, right? The same thing with the drugs, the same thing with alcohol. It just didn't stop, right? I needed this, I needed something all the time, you know? I'm not saying that I'm clean from all of this needing, right? There's, I guess until the day a human dies, we'll never be perfect, right? So we always have something to work on ourselves, look forward to, especially Scorpio rising. We're always going to go down and find something else dark down there, you know, and come outside, put it out into the light. So, but I did like the major things that, you know, that society would say, you know, you're going to need this, you know, you're going to need this pill all your life. You're going to, I mean, my body would make cholesterol and I had to take, a doctor told me, you're going to have to take this pill for cholesterol for the rest of your life. Because even if you don't eat cholesterol, high cholesterol foods, your body makes the cholesterol. So you're going to need this pill, right? The same thing with thyroid. Now, why am I saying all this? Because I quit those a year ago too. And my body, my blood tests have been perfect. My body does not create cholesterol. I do not have thyroid problems. So, you know, somebody will say, well, how the hell did that happen, right? How the hell did she manage going through all of this and not needing drugs, alcohol. To tell you the truth, one of my favorite drugs, I was into hard drugs, and I was into the lighter drugs. I was into the heavy and everything in between, alcohol. But more than the hardcore drugs, I liked ecstasy. That was my drug of choice, was ecstasy, MDMA. I loved it. You know, I loved being lovable all the time and just floating out there, and just everything is pink and bubbly. And, you know, that's me, you know, and I needed that feeling. And I didn't have that feeling. And, you know, the heroin would just, you know, knock me out. You know, I wouldn't feel any kind of high. I didn't want to be knocked out. I wanted to feel love. You know, I wanted to feel happy inside. And the truth is, today, I believe that if I take one of these drugs, MDMA or ecstasy, it will actually ruin my natural high.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind. You know, how is that possible? But it is, you know, it is. And I believe that it happened to me once I quit of course, the drugs, the psychiatric pills. And once I started saying different things in my head about who I am, once I started loving myself and not hating myself, you know, prostitution, I don't know about other women that get into it. I know about me and my friends. Basically, the most of us got into it. The most of the women I know went through some kind of a rape when they were younger. I don't know how you say hatradaminit.
Like molestation, like molested.
There's all kinds of names to this, right? There's rape,
so many.
There's molestation. There's you know, being picked on. It can be not even physically touching, but like remarks. There are women that go into prostitution because of maybe they grew up in a family where they, you know, the family members made remarks on their physicality all their life. You know, you should be thinner, you should be, you know, your boobs are too, or whatever, you know, all kinds of remarks. There's all kinds of reasons. It's basically, prostitution is basically, from what I know on myself, was to go back, is to live the moment over and over again, to go back in history, live that moment with my father, where I wasn't in control of my body, of my being, and to relive it again and again, and to feel in control. That's what prostitution is for me. The same thing with drug. To manipulate a feeling and feel more in control.
So let me, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
So what part of any one of the modalities or any one of the expressions or suppressions, call it what you want, between prostitution or drugs or any of the scorpionic type underworld things, which part of doing it over and over again allowed you to feel like you were in control?
It's kind of like a how you say it in English? Ashlaya. I don't know, say ashlaya. Let's say I see you and you're not really here. It's a hologram. What is that? What would that be? What's it, like another word for
like
that?
An illusion.
Illusion, exactly. So the illusion, my illusion of prostitution is feeling in control. When I'm an adult and I invite the man to come to my house, and we do what we do, and I decide how much and how long or whatever, I'm suddenly, you know, this I'm not this little Tami anymore who is a victim, right? I'm this happy prostitute, prostitute, right? That's what I put on my face with, you know, I love this, you know, and I can do everything, you know, and I'm your fantasy and all that stuff. And that does something to my ego. It does something to me. It makes me feel in control. Suddenly, you know, I'm enjoying this, I'm making money, I'm, you know, whatever I stick on that, you know, I can be this, I never used a different name. I never had those, you know, I used my own private name, but I did have a mask of this very, 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 very strong woman that you could do anything, you know? I mean, I had people choking me, and I'd be with 5 men at once, you know, all these crazy, crazy situations, right? Where your soul has to leave your body to go through all of this pain, right? Just to prove myself, just to be this persona of this very, very special human being that can go through this. And I'm this queen, right? That everybody wants. So that's control. I mean, that's the illusion. That's the illusion of control. Because at the end of the day, at a certain point, at one time, something happens where you don't want to be in that situation again. It happens to most of the women. I mean, I know that there's a lot of women that are against, like in Israel now, there's, how do you say, there was a new rule that went out last year. They will not, they like, if a John will take a prostitution and he gets caught, he can get a jail time and pay, how do you call it? When you have to pay money.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Prostitution.
The punishment. No. The punishment.
Like a
like
bail's
you get
bond?
a ticket. Yeah. He'll have to pay a certain amount of money the first time, the second time more, the third time, and then at a certain point, like I don't know the exacts, but I think like the third, fourth, fifth time, I don't know, he'll sit in jail, right?
Okay.
And there are people that are against this. There are people that are against this. There's women that are in prostitution. They're saying, hey, you're taking my job, my work from me, right? So, you know, I don't really get into that. You know, I believe that if a woman wants to be a prostitute, you know, I'm not, I would never tell her not to. I speak only for myself, what it did to me and why I actually am, I believe in this. I like this rule, and I believe in it. I believe that it watches over. I see things like from above, the bigger picture. I believe that a society should help one another, and if I want to live in a society that helps one another, I think that if I allow, I don't know if allow is the right word, but like I said, drugs are illegal, right? But people go do it anyway. It's not like I allow you or not allow, you know, a person should have a choice, you know, if he wants to go drug. But if I'm gonna legalize drugs for like 12-year-olds, then, you know, I'm doing something, because most women, they get into prostitution. I think the starting age is 13, 14 years old. So if I want to be, you know, to live in a society that agrees to that, then, you know, I just don't agree with that. I believe that that we shouldn't, that we should watch over these kids and these women, that because even though, you know, and I did go through that once they put on the there was a time that people started getting scared of getting caught, so there wasn't a lot of work in prostitution. It was even before They made that rule. So I know what it is. I know what it's like, you know, when you don't have work in prostitution. But then again, my more inner being would rather not have that work than it being okay. Like, yeah, it's okay to work in prostitution. It's okay to legalize it. I don't believe in legalizing, because I believe that for me and for many other women, prostitution is going through death every time. Because when the body and the soul, you know, when you you know, like a lot of kids when they go through incest, you hear stories about I saw myself from the corner of the room from they separate themselves. That's the dissociatia. How do you say dissociatia?
Dissociation?
Yeah, dissociatia. And dissociatia for me is actually leaving
like
the body.
The death, like the ego death, the shaman death kind of thing.
It's leaving the body. I mean, what is dissociation? Why do people see themselves from a, you know, from a, I don't remember seeing myself from afar, but I know that, and it's a proven fact that in order to go through some kind of a pain, there has to be a dissociation. So what is life? Living through dissociation over and over and over again. You're not in yourself. You can't bring out your full potential if you're not all the way inside. And that's why I decided to talk about this, about me going inside and what I found out.
Now, this is super duper beautiful. Even just to like, and I like to do this to really take like in between the in-betweens so that it all can digest, not even just for you and I, but for everyone listening.
Yeah.
And with that said, I would like to actually do a quick like breath exercise if you're down to do it with me. Like it's a quick one, it's quiet, it's smooth. All right, and I want everybody else that's live watching this to try this as well. Take your two fingers here, okay? I want you to just place them where your third eye would be. All right, we're going to now close one nostril with the thumb, and you're gonna inhale through the opposite nostril for 5 seconds. 4, slow, soft, quiet breath. Your chest shouldn't move. Then we're going to close the ring finger. We're going to open the thumb and then exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From the belly, rise on your inhale. Soft, quiet breath. Close your thumb. Open the ring finger and exhale soft. As your shoulders relax and cave down, we are combining our masculine and feminine energy as we inhale for 7 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close the ring. As you open the thumb, exhale for 7 seconds. As your jaw relaxes and your ears melt down. Beautiful. And we'll take an inhale here, coming up. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open the ring finger and let all of it out. Here's your full release. And we'll just take a moment to notice any subtle changes in the body and the mind. Micro shifts, the smallest little change.
I have a deviated symptom. Is that how it's called?
Septum, I think.
Septum. So it's a little bit difficult for me to do that, but because I need to breathe with this one. But
I used to have a deviated septum. Some of these breaths, some of them, there's a bunch more, or we got rid of that. I don't want to say got rid of it because like it can rise, it can come up anywhere and anytime it wants. But generally when I'm staying on track, it takes care of itself. Because I used to never be able to sleep with it. It was so annoying for me. Yeah. These little breaths can help over time. And again, it takes time. It takes time. Like, I mean, I've been doing it for a long time now. I want to really address what might be happening in the chat, just to see what's going on and see some of the feedback. I see a lot of people dropping feedback in for you. Scorpios are designed for greatness because we are pure energies that go through darkness to evolve into a pure diamond for the world. It's a challenge due to its the dark shadow, but the phoenix will rise. Thank you for sharing that. I noticed earlier, I think Jamie said something about, yeah, there's something with never sitting right with me about taking pills for the rest of my life. I always knew that that wasn't right. Let me see. But the kids that are born these days, they can't actually be suppressed. Their light is way too bright. And if we nourish it. So yeah, I think that was Jamie as well, saying they'll try to put the kids basically on a conveyor belt like the rest of society.
It's very important to listen to the kids. Very important to listen to the kids. They know better than the adults.
I remember when Kanye West, the first person I had heard say that in a song, he was like, listen to the kids, bro.
They can teach us. They can teach us more about life than a professor with all these things on their walls, you know? Children.
Say that again. You broke up for 1 second. What about children on the wall?
Children can teach us more about life than these professors with all the things on the walls, the how do you call the trophies or whatever. People that studied for many, many years. You know, you take just one kid and they can say things, do things that, you know, if you pay attention to the, you know, it could be a big lesson.
If you pay attention, that's the key. That's the
We
key.
need to pay attention. We need to pay attention to these kids.
Yeah, they're telling us all the answers all the time. But what do? We go, I heard this, I was walking, and it's like, I heard this in Spanish. So this goes across cultures too, right? Like I'm in Mexico right now, and I was walking and I went by a window and there was a whole family in the window. You can kind of like just see they had their blinds open, and I was walking by and the kid was like excited about something. And I literally heard him say, "Cállate, yada, yada, yada." And it's like, "Cállate" means like shut up. Like literally it means shut up. And I think this is one of the big issues, like, you know, why we can't learn from the kids. Like they've been giving us the answers a long time, but we just tell them to shut up because we think that they're crazy or that they're just rambling off at the mouth. And it's like, how often is that really true? Some parts of it, absolutely. I let me see what's happening here. Wow, I just see that the person, I think this is Michael.
I associate with the Phoenix Rising. That's is that Egyptian? The Phoenix.
It's Harry Potter. It's Harry Potter.
The Phoenix Rising. I don't remember where exactly that comes from, but I know the Phoenix.
Here, I'll tell you what. Yeah. Here's what I will do.
I am half Egyptian, by the way. My father is Egyptian.
My first girlfriend was Egyptian.
Oh.
You can imagine why it didn't work out.
I mean, God knows. I mean, Egyptian.
There's a card that I would like to share, and I would like to read the definition because of what we're talking about. So the Phoenix is actually one of my spirit animals. And I have this in this card here. So I'm going to actually share briefly what this means. And this is actually one of the spirit cards. So there's 4 elements: earth, wind, fire, air. And then this one, the circles at the top are considered spirit. So I'm going to briefly read this. It is one of my favorite cards. And I think it plays a lot to do with what you were talking about, like with prostitution as a sex worker. Mind you, like having a 6th house stellium in Scorpio, right? Like this literally, Scorpio, let's say Scorpio is the domain of sex. 6th house is what we're doing every day. So it's like This is why I fully agree with what you said. It's like, we never should take moments to judge anybody. And I think one of the things that I really know, one of the things that astrology does so well, when I'm able to interpret it, is help us to understand each person's role in life, right? Like each person's contribution. Like literally 6th house is how you serve. It's part of your contribution. So it's like, who was to say that even with the 5 or the 6 guys or whoever, women, the whole 9, that you weren't purifying, you weren't so strong as all that Scorpio intense energy, that you weren't purifying each and every single one of them. Now, how many can say that they can do that at such a time in one moment, right? To purify so many souls in a moment by this means. Not everybody's built to do such a thing. So on that avenue, thank you. Thank you for your contribution, literally being 6th house. So here's the Phoenix. And it's going to really resonate. All right. Phoenix symbolizes freedom from suffering and past karma. It also means reincarnation. The Phoenix is Scorpio to me, by the way. And in astrology, we've all heard this before. Like the Phoenix represents the Scorpio cycle. The Phoenix represents the transformation of our past. It doesn't mean running away from it, denying it, or burning bridges with rage. The Phoenix employs an advanced technique described in yoga as the burning of impurities through practice and dedication. This is also called tapas, the daily practices. The essence of the Phoenix is with us when we realize we have been suffering for too long and something must change. We take a stand and decide to live consciously instead of being driven by the unconscious mind and its long list of fears and aversions. At that very moment, the spark of the Phoenix is lit, and the great bird helps us burn through our baggage. We no longer run from who we are, what has happened to us, or what we have done. The stuckness and dead weight fall into the ashes, and a lightness and clarity emerges. As the stagnancy continues to smolder, the Phoenix lifts our spirit up and up, and we begin to recognize ourselves again. We may catch a glimmer in our eye that wasn't there before. Look closely. It's a sign. The fire transformation is upon your wings. So each one of these cards is represented by a chakra, one of the 7. And this actually, the Phoenix represents the first chakra, the ground chakra, the root chakra, the Muladhara. And it says briefly, the ancient yogis believed that our heaviest karmas reside in the first chakra. This earthen chakra is also called Muladhara, or our root. The accent of the Phoenix begins here. The ascent of the Phoenix begins here. And as the entanglement of karmas is slowly burned, it rises from the ash towards the navel center. Again and again, it makes its journey from first to third chakra, purifying our essence, freeing us from the past. Wow. So as I read this card, what really was triggered within me was the understanding of Aries would also represent the root chakra. Okay. And Aries is depending on who you're talking to, part of what it can be considered is our lower desires, right? Our lower desires. It starts in that base chakra where we may not fully think through about, let's say in this instance, a sexual decision either, or what are we doing and why we're doing it. It's just look, I desire this, I do this. Not much thought involved. But the reason I say this is because I've went through this recently as well for myself, between my 1, 2, 3 lower chakras, just burning, going through its phoenix process from the bottom to the sacral and the orange, the yellow, and then back to the bottom. And then it just kept going over and over. And like some of that was painful in like real human life, if you will. But what was happening was the impurities of all of my karmic debt, all of my karmic experiences, they were purifying so that I can have stronger and more aligned relationships, so that my willpower and my ambition can really as well align with what makes me feel secure today, not what programming was I running on that made me feel secure when I couldn't defend myself, when I couldn't protect myself, when I couldn't, take care of myself, all things security related in that root chakra. And so it had to go through that burning phase. And so sex is one of those avenues, okay, that we can use in a sense to get us from a place where there's a lack of understanding of any of these impurities, or lack of understanding of the narratives or the traumas that have happened in our earlier stages of life. And it's like, it does so in waves. So it almost like it burns what it knows you can handle. And then it is reborn. And then it burns what it knows you can handle. And then it's reborn. And as we know, we get more and more resilient, right? We get stronger and stronger. So we can, as Scorpios, take more and more pain because our experiences have shown us what we're capable of. And I would say, like, on the opposite end, Scorpios does represent extremes, where we have to also be mindful and watch, like, when are we choosing extreme just because we're used to the extreme? We're so familiar with extremes that we can't accept the role of Taurus. And let's say Taurus is like harmony and simplicity, not extremes. Yeah. Could be hedonistically extreme because it shares some of that same energy. However, it chooses more often to be harmonious and peaceful.
True. I know that much about Taurus. Yeah.
Right.
It was very interesting, the colors on the there was the red and the orange and
it's the red, orange, and the yellow.
Yeah.
Literally.
Which are really it's also sexuality, but it's also passion, it's also yeah, the red could be survival, but it could be, it's also passion. It's bringing passion. Many times out of survival, people have to bring in passion into something to get out of the survival mode. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that happened for me. I mean,
yeah.
For me, passion is like living passionately, loving passionately, sexing passionately, creating passionately. Every passion is what has gotten me through everything. In a sense, it's like, mind you, I'm expressing those passions in many different areas of life. Like the passion that I get and the thrill I get when I ride my bike through the city and I'm like bumping against cars, like I'm like beep beep, and I'm just like no. Yeah. Like, for me, each one of these it gives me, sometimes it's like the passion of these exercises or these moments in my life, it just gives me a break. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to with Scorpio, because again, we can get so attached to the extremes of things. And like, as a Scorpio rising, like I myself am so attached to the extremes of things, right? Where it's like the simple passions at times help me to actually balance some of these extremities, balance like having to go over the edge and realize that like sometimes those simple things are what brings me to passion and the renewal of energy. Yeah. So let me ask you this. Okay, so we heard a little bit about your story, and I thank you tremendously for sharing. I mean, you have so many people right now that are supporting you. Everybody, please definitely give her like a clap. Give her some claps in the some clap emojis, some like hands up praises for coming out here being so tremendously vulnerable. It's her first time ever doing a live, ever.
Yeah.
And she's just out here spilling the beans.
Channel as well.
Okay, boom, you just got the first start. You're capable. You literally just you just put it on a performance, so you're capable. So definitely drop some comments in there just to give her some praise. And as a part of that, my question now is, we've heard some of your past, we've heard some of the stories that you've experienced in this particular lifetime. Considering, again, this is the things you're revealing today, what did it take? How did you change the story? How did you change the story from, oh my God, this is happening to me. Oh my God, I'm a victim. Oh my God, like, why me? Why me? Why me? How did you change the story from that to coming on here to be able to share from a place of strength and resilience and wisdom?
Like I said, most of my life was made out of suffering. My child was taken from me to foster care when he was. We both went into a closed institution for treatment when he was 2.5 years old. He was taken from there. The treatment didn't work out. Like I said, I was in these many places that weren't able to really help me. And he was taken from there to foster care until today. Now he's on his way back. He's on his way back until today. He's 15. He's been in foster. Like I said, we've been in that place for 3.5 years, which was already, wasn't our home. This treatment place, which didn't work. And then he went from there to foster, and now he's on his way back to me. We're
so
on
after 3.5 years, he's on your way back to you today.
No, we were in this place for about 3.5 years, which didn't work out.
Okay.
It was a closed institution for addicted women. And actually, I came out of that place more messed up than I went in. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. It wasn't good for me. It wasn't right for me, and for a lot of other people. And a lot of women, their kids went from there to foster care because this treatment center didn't really help us. And it's been 9 years now since he's totally out of my hands, and now he's coming back to live with me very, very soon. The next couple of months, few months, there'll be so I'm going through a lot of changes. But what happened to me was, everything got so bad that I had to do something very drastic. It's really kind of hard to, especially now there's not that much time, it's really hard to say one thing that made it happen, but it was a lot of things, a lot of suffering. Once I quit the psychiatric drugs, I had this really, really massive spiritual awakening, and I saw stuff that, I just saw life the way it was. A lot of good, a lot of beauty. I saw things that I never saw before. How beautiful the sea is. I mean, things that I never, like, it was bigger. I'm like, what the hell? All kinds of these spiritual, really crazy things. And, like seeing things like I used to see when I was on drugs. The colors are very, very vivid. But then I saw a lot of the dark as well in other people, in myself. And the shock was so strong and so hard, it nearly killed me. Kind of like the Tami, the child that went into shock when her mom didn't help her. I forgive my mom, by the way. We went through a whole session. And
say that again. Say that last part again.
I forgive my mom. I went through something with myself. I even forgive my father, by the way. The thing about forgiveness is that it opens up your heart to a lot of abundance, because
absolutely
being angry and hating, and which is fine, but I couldn't really get into me, because all I got was a lot of anger, I had to let a lot of that stuff out for all this good to come in. But the bottom was, my bottom was, my third eye, opened like 100%. I just saw all this stuff that I didn't want to see about life, about people, and I couldn't handle it. I went into shock. My body did not, no matter what I ate, my body didn't hold on to the food, and I was nearly dead. I got it to, I don't know how you say it in Israel, we use the kilograms. I was about 42 kilograms. I was really, really thin. I couldn't gain weight, and I just didn't want to be here anymore. I wanted to die. And something in that moment, you know, I screamed to the universe, you either help me right now, or I'm going to the desert with no food and no water, and I'm going to wait for you to come get me. And that's how it was.
And I'm gonna wait.
Right. I was like, I'm not going to kill myself, you know, but, you know, I'm not going to do this anymore. And the help arrived, right?
Yeah.
And
always.
the thing about help and about what happened was little by little, these little miracles, you know, and today it's these big miracles, you know, like I'll manifest like 10,000 shekels, boom, it'll be there, you know, but it doesn't start like that. You have to believe in what you don't believe. You have to see, you have to change the story, Scorpio, right? You have to change the story. When you change the story, even if you don't believe it 100%, because each of us is a universe, right? You're a universe. Everybody is a universe. It doesn't, it's not what my life on the outside is my universe. It's not from the outside in, it's from the inside out. So
absolutely. That was so you would say that is, and that was the change, like that moment where you finally were like, all right, look, I'm not going to be the one to take my life, but I'm going to go out to the desert with no water, no food, no supplies, and you're either going to show me the path or this is it. That was the day. That was the moment.
I didn't actually go to the desert, right? I'm alive, but but it was like that. I was like, I can't live like this anymore. I'm either gonna check out of here, or universe, you must help me. And I did get help. Sometimes we don't see the help. And it's very important to listen and to see, you know, to read the little writing. I always call it the little writing in between the lines, you know, to learn how to listen, because the more you practice learning how to listen to the universe, it can come in little things, because the universe talks to us all the time. But if you don't start, it doesn't, you know, you have to practice. And it's like learning a new language. And then you suddenly realize, oh my God, they're talking to me all the time. I just haven't noticed it. Right. And it's very individual. You know, I realized one day that I get messages through graffiti, through art. It's amazing. My guides, they speak to me in all kinds of different kinds of ways, right? They tap me on my body. They're like, you know, and art, I guess, because I'm an artist. I don't even know why, but it's just, you know, I learn to listen to the messages. I learn to listen to the, you know, I'll ask for something, and you know, and it'll suddenly be there. It'll suddenly be there. And if it's not there, then I keep asking for it, you know, and maybe it's not exactly what I asked for, but maybe it's something better and I just don't know it yet. And
that's the magic, right? It's primarily when we let go of what it looks like. That was some of the game for me, some of my like breakdown moments, like some of my like, fuck this, I quit, take me off the planet. I was like, revoke this role. I don't want to be a leader. Like literally, like I've had these conversations, like, you know what, fuck you. I like had it was the day, and it honestly was only like, it was about a month ago, maybe like a month and a half ago. And for the first time in my life, I was like, fuck you, God. I was just so angry. I was so angry. I was like, fuck you, God, fuck this, fuck that. And I was like, take me. I was like, fuck it. Like, let's just get it on with. And for me, it was a very, very, like, it was a break. And I was literally by myself, and I had a friend that called, I remember, and I picked up and I could do nothing but just, and then like 3 seconds later, I just hung up. And ironically, that was part of the help. ironically, like just knowing that like as soon as I asked, 3 people had called. One, I just couldn't pick up because I already recognized the one I picked up prior, I was just, nothing was going to come out. But it was just the support of knowing nobody was fucking calling me prior. Like literally, but right when I'm at this brink, this happened. And then the irony of it is I then go and drive 8 hours randomly to meet somebody from YouTube. And like literally randomly 8 hours, like a day and a half later, I go meet somebody randomly off YouTube. And next thing you know, it's like all these angels are there. I'm not kidding. Like I ended up getting certified in angel Reiki on that same exact weekend. And,
Amazing.
you know, there were just like a plug of angels. And now, ever since that moment, every single day since I've been in Mexico, I'm not kidding, 2 to 3 feathers, white feathers, they drop. In my room, I wake up in my bed, they're like on my nose, they're on my hand in the morning. And there's just, ever since that day, that moment, I was like, fuck you, God. And I kid you not, God showed up to me one day in the form of a cat. I was on my rooftop and this cat is just staring at me. And the cat was a little angry. So it kind of made me a little feel like, I'm like, you mad at me? Like, I could understand if you're mad at me. Like, I would get it. But it was just that moment of like, from for whatever reason, for whatever it was worth, the moment was with that cat. It was just like, it was kind of like, don't question me again. If I'm being honest, that's kind of what I get today. It was like, don't question me again, because my life now, from that month and some change ago, everything just went just like magic. It was literally like magic. Like everything just went right into my favor. Things started working very, very well. And it was just like,
yeah. I believe that, you know, the feather thing, you know, one can argue, oh, that's your imagination. But I believe that when I asked for a sign, you know, many times you know, they'll try and deliver that sign. You know, if it's something, I believe in imagination. I believe that basically, there's something that you know, society kind of structured us into a certain kind of thing and left no room for too much imagination. And I think that from what I learned about myself is the more that I even believe, you know, what is this real for real? I just ask for money and it'll be there. If I believe in it, you know, if I don't believe in it, you know, it's probably not going to happen. But if I believe in it, right? So that's basically
it's 11:11. It's 11:11 as you say that right now. Just had to shoot that out there. It's like, so for all of y'all out there, in this moment, would it be 11:11 in my time zone? We're going to energetically shift this out. I want you to type in the chat right now, and I want you to say one thing about yourself that you believe in that maybe prior you doubted. Like literally one thing in the chat that you believe in today that maybe at one point you've doubted. And, you know, for me, and I'll say it out loud and I'll type it as well, just to really join you, that I'm gonna type it, that I can monetize YouTube. Like literally, this is the it. This is the it for me. You know, 4 years ago, I set out and I was like, I want to go and travel the world and I want to have my only job be YouTube. And that was 4 years or so ago, right? And then it's like, there was this big like 2.5 year gap where I did nothing on YouTube, right? So I didn't put any action into YouTube for like 2.5 years of that 4 year gap. Nothing went in it. And then the last, I don't even know. I mean, now it's maybe like 8 months or so. In the last 8 to 9 months, I put my all into it. I was like, look, I did what I needed to do to clear out people that didn't belong, side oddball jobs that I'm like looking for a little change here, change there, while like being out in the world. I just closed everything out and I was like, I'm sitting the fuck down. I'm going to work on YouTube. So my point behind that is, you know, when it comes to manifesting that 11/11 that just passed, don't ever forget that asking for help or asking for money or asking for X, Y, and Z is never enough, right? You have to actually, you know, it's like life magic. You have to literally put life into it. You have to breathe life into it. You have to take action for it in order for this, doubt that was once a doubt to
Energy.
actually, it was energy. Exactly.
You have to put
You had to
energy into something. Yeah.
energize it. That's the
Yeah.
key. That literally is the key. So I just wanted to kind of like, okay, boom, I see some, I believe in myself. I believe in how powerful I am. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I'm just like checking some of the comments here. So me and my Scorpio will be fighting right now. Yeah, I got stung 4 times on the full moon by a scorpion. No shit. She got literally stung 4 times by a scorpion. Yeah, I just put a little Scorpio stinger video out yesterday. You might want to go watch that because
Scorpio, an unhealed Scorpio can be vicious. I mean, I did things, you know, that I'm not proud of, but you know, that's a part of. I believe there's one thing that is very important in life is to love every part of you, the dark side, the stuff that you don't like about yourself. You know, once I love a part of myself that you know I usually do not love or do not like, or it does some kind of a magic as well. It's kind of like it can't resist that love, and it kind of heals by that love. When I hate myself, I had a lot of hatred towards myself. Once I started not blaming me anymore for, you know, and loving this and that part of myself, things I didn't like to look at, then that's when I started healing. That's when I started healing, basically.
I want to address what you just said, and right before I do, I want to readdress the people in the comments who dropped their manifestations, and I want you to go one step deeper. Okay, like so. Right now, I see. I believe I can create my reality. Okay, boom. I like this one a lot. I believe that I can be my own source of comfort and guidance, or that I can be my own source of comfort and guidance. I like that a lot, if I'm being honest. There was some more. Boom. I believe in magic. Okay, boom. I believe in myself. I believe in how powerful I am. So I want really, like, in the comments, take another step deeper. Okay. So if you believed in how powerful you are, what would you do? I want you to put that comment. All right. For you that put in, I believe in myself. Okay. By you believing in yourself, and I know you, so I'm going to call this one on 10th house. What does that 10th house look like for you now? And I know that one's more personal. Like the one I said, I believe in myself. What does your 10th house look like now? Because I know that's being activated in astrology. Well, I believe my ability to create my reality. What does
is the
the
10th
reality
house?
look
Can
like?
you explain the 10th house a little? I don't remember.
Definitely. 10th house is so your 10th house would be your Scorpio rising. So it's going to either be Virgo or Leo, depending on if you're at the earlier or later end. Do you know which one it is for you?
I don't remember.
That's okay. I think I have your chart right here.
Yeah. Isn't 10th house have to do with the work?
10th house has to do with what?
Profession?
Yes and no. Yes and no. So the work is really where your 6th house sits. Your 6th house is the work. That's the everyday, right? 10th house is just more so what you're known for. So I'll try to give you an example of me right now. So my 6th house is in Aries. However, my 10th house is in Virgo. 10th house being career and public reputation and image. 6th house being like, what am I actually doing in order for that 10th house to come true? So 10th house, the work isn't actually happening in the 10th house. The 10th house is just what you're known for itself. Okay, so Virgo and 10th house for me, I'm known for connecting the dots and making astrology look very simple. I don't have to include all the fucking trines and whatever the language, right? Like I'm not coming on here and like, okay, this is connected and conjuncted with that, and this is in opposition. For me, part of my service, 10th house, how I publicly show up for others is all that is happening inside of my head, but what's coming out of my mouth is just like, oh, here's how you address your trauma. Let's take this breath. Where it's just like, it's super duper simplified, right? I'm taking all the chaos out, Virgo, how people see me at least. I'm taking all the chaos out and I'm creating organization. That'd be Virgo 10th house. That's just how I'm viewed. But on the back end, me, Aries in 6th house, this is me constantly pushing to improve my craft every day so that I can't even appear to be like that as a Virgo. But every day, like I'm literally in the future, in a sense, like fire sign future, I'm literally in the future with the work that I'm doing, where it's already like, what else can I connect to make this all simplified? And that might be learning human design, as well as Myers and Briggs personality 16 tests, tarot divinations, whatever it is, so that Virgo can then pull all of them back together. At least me being known for pull them all back together, which is very different than the work that I'm doing, because the work on the everyday, I need a lot of flexibility. Okay. I need a lot of shit to not be organized, in a sense. I needed to be clear. I need to, like, fire masculine energy. I needed to be clear and focused on Aries, so that I know what am I going to hit. Because as an Aries 6th house, I'm like, I'm either going to hit a home run or I'm not going to hit anything at all. That's very different than Virgo. Virgo's like, I'm going to get every little fucking detail. So my day-to-day work is like, fuck the details. I'm going to hit this home run. I'm going to use 20% of my energy. I'm going to get an 80% return. And Virgo is what goes in and kind of like finishes that other small detail. It brings the chaos to a place of organization.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Can you give the
I love
prompt
astrology.
again?
I love astrology. I love the
Yes.
planets. I'm in love with all of the planets. I just love it. I love it, really. I believe in, I know some people don't think astrology is, I think astrology is a big deal. I think that the more, I believe the planets are us. It's just like a, you know, it's like a, how do you say, shikuf, like looking in the mirror, you know, Venus and Mars. Suddenly this war, you know, in Russia, Ukraine, you know, it's like a mirror, you know, Venus and Mars. It talks about many times, from what I understood, it talks about war. You know, it's these two opposites, you know, running side by side. You know, it didn't surprise me that the war came out, and you know, unfortunately, but these planets are mirroring us. It's very amazing. I just love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everything is a mirror.
You know, I like to tell people astrology is like, you know what? It fucking exists.
Yeah.
Like no matter what you want to do, like when I get like the disparate levers, if I even care to explain it, because at this point I don't have too much space to explain it. For somebody that's just like already like, I don't believe this. It's like, okay, when you're ready, I'll be somewhere around here, right? But for those that are like another step in, I just go, look up. Can you see the sun? Can you see the sun? Can you see the moon? Can you see Mars? Every single one of them. At the end of the day, it's fucking there. It exists. You call it what you want. It's there. Like you can go on a suicide mission if you want and go touch it, but you can do that. Like you can actually do that. Exactly. So
yeah.
Somebody asked if I can give the prompt again. There was an 1111. Wow. Now, right now I see 111 on my screen, actually. So they're like right on the question. Hilarious. And the prompt was to really manifest something that to shout out loud for yourself. What does this brand new beginning look like? Something that you may have doubted once upon a time, which now you just believe that you can do. Because we're in Aries season. Okay, so you really do believe in the action that you can take and that you will take. I recommend really maybe 3 to 5 more days, if I'm being honest, before you take real bold, unstoppable action. I would just take incremental planning steps, because right now Aries is alone in the sky. It's by itself, and you have a lot of Pisces energy, which is very confusing for Aries. Aries is like too much deepness, Pisces, like let's get clear. And then we got Scorpio Moon, so it's like this ain't the time. Tomorrow when the moon goes into Sag, you're gonna have a fucking burst. Okay, when you got the sun and the moon in fire signs, you're gonna be like boom. However, it still takes a little bit of like, because all that fire after the first time, the last time it's been like this has been since November, December. And again, that was a very short time frame of fire in Sag season. So right now, what is it? It's like March, late March, going to be April. That's 4 or 5 months. You have not felt this much fire coming like you will tomorrow and the day after, but it's going to go away. So until Mercury gets in Aries, things are going to be a little bit confusing in a sense for you're going to feel inspired to do something, but you're not really going to know what the fuck that is all the way. but you kind of know, like you kind of know, but you just don't know. So just be careful before you rush right now. And I would say, as long as you have planned something out, you can go hit it. If you didn't plan it, give it some time, put the pen on the paper. Okay. Don't leave it in your mind. Put the pen on the paper. Decide what you're going to do. And in 3 to 5 days, you can really start rocking this shit, like relentlessly for the whole next month and a half, 2 months, because then Jupiter will go in Aries as well. And that's when all hell breaks loose in May.
Wow. Beautiful. I have so
Absolutely.
much going on right now. So it's like, oh,
you're on mute. You're on mute. You got so excited. It was like, yeah. Got you. You're back.
I'm trying to let go of my mom's calling me, and I don't know how to do this because I'm not a, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
And she won't stop calling until, okay, am I?
I got you. You're super clear now.
Okay, there's something on my screen. I don't know how to make that go away. Okay, there, that's it. Okay, now I can hear that was my mom calling. I don't know how to make things go away. Anyway, but right now there's so much going on in my life. There's my child that we're all in this process, of him coming back to me, and we have to go to court to do that. And then there's the lecture. Everything is new. Everything is this like new life is, and there's the YouTube channel, which is not open yet, but everything is, just about there. And then there's more and more interviews for more YouTube channels. I have another few, and it's starting to, and I had this how do you call it? Not an interview. Yeah, it's an interview when you're in the newspaper, when you're in a newspaper, an article. So I had an article in a newspaper about the whole thing, the prostitution, my story. So there's all these little like it keeps getting more and more, and then people get to me, people find me, and
because you're putting energy into it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like you asked what happened in the past. So that's what I did, I saw myself on stage lecturing to people. I saw myself, now I see myself, the YouTube channel, getting to more people. The newspaper was a very, very, the biggest newspaper in Israel. Now it's, I'm doing like little baby steps because I was, the other side of Scorpio, I guess is kind of like, leave me alone, not dealing with too many, being upfront with a lot of people. That's something that was a little bit hard for me. Staying in the comfort zone was the story of my life. And coming out of my comfort zone is, being public, which was something that wasn't so easy for me. Like television, like being on a morning show, right? It's not the easiest thing for me, but I am manifesting it because I know that it will help me and it will help other people. So I give it energy, right? I'm giving this public life. I'm building up this avatar, Tami, seeing her in a public light all the time. And it just, and suddenly it comes to me, right? Suddenly I get this, today, I get this telephone call from another YouTube channel that wants to interview me. So it's really nice, right? It's really nice because these interviews, it gives it more mass. The energy grows and grows. And that's basically what I want to do. I just really want to help people that I know that a lot of basically women, but also men. Like I said, I have a lot of friends that are not alive today because of what they went through. And, you know, I used to be a mess, right? I used to have panic attacks, you know, so there's an answer for just about everything. And I believe that I do have a lot to give out of my own experience. I believe basically the people that I like to get from mostly are people that been through that themselves. You know, if you have somebody that grew up with a lot of money and a lot of support and a lot of this and a lot of that, talking to you about light, not that it's a bad thing, right? It's fine, but I prefer to listen to the one that, you know, that didn't have it that easy. How did you do it? How do you wake up smiling in the morning, even though your life was hell, right? So that's what I kind of feel like I can offer to people.
So I was looking at your chart in the meanwhile. So if you ever
Yeah.
see my attention like go left or right, understand that I'm here with you. I was looking at your chart just to like potentially give a couple nuggets out on the journey that I'm hearing you speaking about you're going towards. And without revealing any of your actual placements, because I feel like this is private for you, what I will say is 29, what's 29 plus 29? 60, 58. Okay, so around 58 years old or so, this next return will happen for you where you've matured. This is Saturn. You've matured in sharing and communicating the more intimate details to actually be in the limelight. This is what I'm seeing. This is again me doing the Virgo thing, the Virgo 10th house thing, taking all the complications of it out. And I'm just saying this, and I'm going to try to say the statement again. Around 58, especially, and everything leading towards it, you would have found yourself maturing, preparing to share through media outlets your darkness or the knowledge you've accumulated about all things taboo, sex, death, and etc., rebirth, etc., trauma, etc. And you're going to be really getting and reaping the gifts actually to shine on stage, in a public way, especially like as an auditor, someone who just speaks like a speaker, like a paid speaker. I can easily see you being in that space, like yourself with your story as someone, and they just give $10,000 to come speak to this woman's shelter. You know, I can easily see that. And what's going to happen is, in the ways that you're going to find yourself best communicating is by all the unhealable bodily traumas, unhealable, quote unquote, unhealable mental traumas, by you speaking very clean, clear, and direct, almost in a cold, reserved way, where like in some way you might almost be talking about it as if you're out of your body, but but in reality you're in your body, and they're not going to be able to know the difference. But that's going to be why some of it's going to seem cold and reserved, because this is a part of your give back to humanity and the speech that you and what you share and how you share it. People are going to see you as a public figure of strength, honestly, a public figure of integrity, more so specifically. And this is your big abundance of, oh wow, look at that, boom, I'm fucking good. Okay, this is a big abundance about your money. This is when your money rises. It's when you go on these stages or you talk to these people and you actually don't say a lot, but you say everything. Like you're not necessarily, it's when you learn the big resources are going to come for you when you learn how to use technology, which is one of the things I see here. Use technology, use things like astrology or other modalities as a part of your public figure, And this can be bigger than just those two things I mentioned. Anything Aquarian like, your friends, your major connections, to show up as a woman of integrity who can speak clearly, pretty much to the point. And everything you say, it might literally be 3 words, but people will receive thousands of different meanings and interpretations behind it. As a part of that, all the background is what we're talking about today on this live with Scorpio, right? You have a lot of Scorpio placements, right? You're literally 5 of them. You said it. Scorpio Moon, Scorpio Mercury, Scorpio Venus, Scorpio Mars, Scorpio Ascendant. Nobody really wants all that smoke with you, okay? Nobody wants all that smoke with you. So you're always gonna, in a sense, you're always protected by something way bigger than life itself. The major thing is, and you said this already, when you came to a place of forgiveness for yourself and for all the subconscious things that want to come up later in life. You're going to always have these like random rapid like moments of your subconscious mind where it's going to just be like a lightning bolt. It's going to be like, you're going to be like, oh shit. And it's going to come. And so when you forgive and embrace those parts of yourself that you had to tuck under the rug temporarily so that you can manage and maintain the rebirth of that phoenix, going through the bottom chakra, the orange and the yellow, going up and down. You have to keep cleansing and purifying that so that you can take in new parts of that subconscious mind that you had to bury at a certain point. And ultimately, where you do well that I see is back to the Sagittarius, where you yourself is going to be you're going to realize, and people are going to realize you as somebody who has integrated all their pain and all their suffering. You've integrated it into your actual character, into your actual identity, to a point where you can live optimistically. You are living optimistically. You have changed the story. You changed your perception, which is Sagittarius here. And that perception change has ultimately one of your biggest way that you give back to society and humanity. This is the way. This is the way. Yeah. And this last part I think is really important because you spoke about it, passions. Your passions are absolutely worthy of a fresh new start. That's what I feel like saying. Your passions are absolutely worthy as a fresh new start. Understand that everything creative you're going to put out there, you're going to have seemingly 80% of people that are going to be like rejecting your shit. They're going to reject your projects. They're going to reject your expression. They're going to literally reject everything that you find delicious and creative. They're going to reject it. Fuck them, okay? And recognize that that 20% has 80% of the weight. There's an illusion there. So just recognize when you see that and you feel hurt or something, when you do this new project and you're like, you take it to the heart or you take it to the head more specifically, those are the moments that you just take a pause and you realize, fuck them. Literally, I literally mean exactly like that. Fuck them, because they have no understanding of what it's like to have 5 Scorpio placements, first off. So they're really, this is an aggressive comment, but they're beneath you. It's really aggressive. It's not entirely true, but for the moment, that's what I feel like saying. And that's when everything's going to start. Everything that I just said as a whole, that's when you're going to shine. And you do have Leo on the 10th house, by the way. So this is going to be publicly people now seeing you as this figure that literally transmutes the dark into light. Because there's a misconception. Scorpio transmutes the light into dark, but Leo transmutes the dark into light, because Leo is the light that all the moths are attracted to. And that brings darkness. But Leo and its ability, people get very confused about this. It has the ability to take all the darkness surrounding it and to ultimately transmute it backwards into light. And Scorpio is almost the opposite, where Scorpio will dig to the deepest parts of its core, but only so that it can get to the light. Right? So it's going towards the light. It's not trying to be dark. So the people get it really fucked up with that. Like, it's like everything that it does, even the extremes and the ways that it pushes certain things, it's all so that it knows that the light is somewhere in the deepest parts of us. It knows that that gem is buried, and it just wants to get that light. It's not, but to do that, it has to go through all the dark, but it's ultimately drawn to the light, opposite of Leo. So That
That's
was like kind of like
interesting. That was
the little
amazing.
wrap up.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a little wrap up. I just want to like shoot that
Being
out there.
misunderstood is the story of my life, by the way.
Say it again.
The story of my life is being misunderstood
Mm-hmm.
many times in my life.
Absolutely.
Said something
Absolutely.
about not being understood, not understanding, not being rejected, and I think that's basically one of the things that, yeah, was to get up anyway, right?
Get up
Being
anyways.
rejected, to get up anyway, to
Yeah.
go and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Even though this rejection, right? I've been rejected in like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's the story of my life. This many times rejection that that have to get up anyway, cleanse
Mm-hmm.
it, cleanse
Mm-hmm.
this rejection. Sometimes
Absolutely.
things come back from the past, uh, and it's just going ahead anyway. And it's not easy, right? It's not easy, but
I mean,
it's beautiful.
easy has never been a part of the mission. Right? Like none of us were reincarnated to come on here to live an easy life. Not a single person. Like, I mean, the earth itself and its vibration, its frequency is it's fucked up. It's the reason why
Right.
we came. We came for a tough mission. So what I want to do now before we get out of here is really just like take a moment to address. You have a lot of love. You have a lot of love. I don't know if you can see the YouTube chat. Can you?
I guess if I move the screen, I'm doing this on my phone, which is
Oh, okay,
kind of
okay,
a bad
okay. So
idea, but
no, it's okay. I'm gonna read a couple of them so that we can really just like really include the people before
yeah.
we wrap this up. So, cause I see some beautiful things in here. Somebody was really speaking about change and discomfort, and he's like, I'm not sure how to tag Missy, but he's recognizing the certain resistance to uncertainty and change, the discomfort and the chaos, which is funny because he feels like his whole life has been chaotic very often. Um, so he's finding himself resistant to the judgment and the limitations, and he realized that the list can kind of go on. I see Fairy Force throwing some love on the shadow work. She's really happy. She thinks you're a really sweet soul. And she wants you to keep up the good work, and she gave you every color heart out there. Um, Earl is thinking about how he yearns for freedom, but a part of him fears where he'll go, where he'll end up. But IG ties that resistance to uncertainty. Um, Missy Earl, I noticed that in my own life, whatever my inner critic is attempting to protect me from, the more I allow that resistance space in my life, the more I invite the energy I'm resisting. Wow, that's actually potent into her reality. Um, that's the exciting part. Surprise. Yeah, basically. So what the result of this is that people supporting him in the comments saying that the surprise is the excitement. That's the unknown, right? That's where that potential energy is. Scorpio needs to leave the comfort zone if you like it or not. Samir out in Tanzania. Um, and I see Fair Force speaking about Earl, the imagination is freedom, which is infinite. And from there, one can then make the plans to bring your wildest dreams into reality. Absolutely. Absolutely. That voice, that inner critic, that inner child, the shadow self, it's all tied together in one subconscious from the early years of your programming. What was rejected within you or deemed in your early years undesirable traits or behaviors. And I recognize people, Pharaoh, saying that's how you turn that pain into pleasure. Wow, this is pretty amazing. I thank you all for I just was like going through reading some of the comments, and I want to say thank you all for definitely how can I get in contact with you? I would love to talk. Um, Ida, I don't know who you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about Earl. I gotta go, but we should talk more in depth. So what I'll say is both of you are on here. You can shoot me a message, anybody that you would like to get in contact with, and I'll go ahead and make the I'm like, where am I looking? I'll go ahead and make the connection. Because I have I'll have Leo Lover's number. So anybody that wants to connect, shoot me an email. If you have my number, you can just shoot me a message via WhatsApp. If you don't have my number, then you can shoot me an email and you just tag that person's avatar name, and I'll go ahead and make sure that you guys connect. That said, are there any closing notes, Tami? Anything that you wish you knew that before we get out of here, you would like to share, or something that can help people out? And obviously, guys, throw a thumbs up on this video. I want to see all those thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. Help this message, help Tami's message, help the channel, the whole nine grow, because everything that was said today was very potent. It's very under discussed. I personally believe that it's not discussed about enough. From a viewpoint that is digestible, but not just digestible, real, but not just real, authentic, but not just authentic, but like, again, from a place where Tami didn't come on here looking for your sympathy. She didn't come on here looking for your pity. You can feel that in the energy. She just came on here and she clearly spoke her story, and she did so in a way that has inspired everybody that's in the chat box right now, as well as people who we do not see. So one, throw her one more hands up, clap, clap, clap for that as you hit those thumbs up, because she's tremendously brave, like all Scorpios are. And with that said, Tami, is there a part of this, is there something that you wish you knew, or for little girls out there who may be going through exactly the same thing, that if you had somebody to tell you something, anything, looking back hindsight, that you would have wished you had heard, please do share such a thing.
I believe that, well, one thing, I'm an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out of all of this chaos, we react, especially as children, to how other people react to us, right? Like, there's something that saved my life. And it was when my mom gave me this clay that she made herself from salt and flour and water. She gave me 3 colors, food coloring, and I made this beautiful shark. And the way she looked at this shark, right, that's what made me an artist today. I mean, I make money off of my art, off of lectures, but I mean, this is something that people need to understand. I'm going back to children, right? It's the way she looked, right? The way my father treated me did this, right? The way my mother looked at my art and put that shark on the shelf, right? So everybody could see. It made me I mean, I believe that I make money from my art because of this, because of that day. So when I went to art school, right, one of my teachers, he used to make fun of me, seriously. You keep making these circles, he said. What are you doing? I didn't go by the, like I said, right? I can't be put in the box, right?
Right.
So what I want to say is that, I'm not from the box, and none of us should be from the box, and we should not talk to children like they're from the box. And, and if you see a kid using art or using speech or dressing, if a boy dresses up like a girl or what the fucking ever, if it's creation, right? Then you talk to that child and you give that child respect for what he or she is doing, because that can change their life forever. Wow. Because I had these 2 voices, right? One was from my father, which taught me that my body was something to use for a sexual craziness. And the other voice was, you're an artist. Wow. It was just my mom looking at. So that's what I want people to know about themselves, right? You don't listen. That's the rejection that you were talking about. Don't listen to anything else. You do what your heart tells you, and you build on that, especially for children.
Are y'all understanding the wisdom that she just dropped? I see somebody in the chat said this. I want to have everybody else type the same thing. Pharaoh Lev said, toss the box. I want you, if you resonated with what Tami just said, I want you to just type that in the box. Toss the box, like fuck the box. Toss the box. Toss the box. Please do type that. You see the little box that they're trying to put the children in? They're the future. Don't ever forget that, okay? And their creativity. I want you to
And they're
toss
going
the
to be
box.
stranger and stranger and stranger children with all kinds of weird things, you know, and don't judge that, you know. Don't judge the children and what they see and what they speak and what they do, you know. Learn from it. Appreciate it.
Toss the box. That's gonna be my message for today. I'm gonna walk around the city of Mexico and I'm gonna I don't know how to say toss in Spanish. That's weird. Dejar. Oh no. Dejarlo el caje. I don't know. That's actually
I don't know.
I said let the box go, I think, or let the cage go.
The only thing I know in Spanish is "mi tengo hambre." Mucho.
Me tengo hambre.
Bueno, me
Es muy
tengo
importante.
hambre.
Es muy importante.
Bien.
Absolutely. Bien. Give me more.
Bien.
Dame más. Dime más. So listen, Tami, I wish you luck on all of your next YouTube lives. I heard and I know you're getting ready to do more of that. I honest to God pray hell of abundance to just rain on top of your entire life when it comes to what your heart calls for. And I want to really say, like, you are incredible. I mean, you were in the chat a couple times on lives and you spoke about it. You said, I want to speak about this. I want to go live on it. You took the action. You lost the email. You found me again on different platforms and you made sure that you got on there. And what I would like to say is how much I appreciate all of those extra steps, those efforts, because more and more as things keep growing, you know, I'm having to do better and better in filtering the type of energy that I actually say yes to for who comes on the platforms, because I'm recognizing like not everybody is pure of heart and intention behind that. And it was very clear for me that you had pure intentions, that you had a real message that you wanted to go out here and speak. That today on Scorpio Moon, with you having a Scorpio Moon and 5 fucking Scorpio placements, that today was the day that we set it up, and it's just perfect. So I just want to really say, like, really from like the deeper centers of my own gut, thank you for just coming on here, being real, being vulnerable, but also resilient. You know, also a symbol of strength, a symbol of integrity with your message and how you decided to put it out there. Thank you. You know, it's just something delicious for me. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. You're a beautiful person. I love you. Thank you.
Thank
awesome. Everybody that's seeing, and thank you.
Where can we find you? Is there a channel that you have up that we can find you that I can type in the chat, or another avenue, a website?
I just have right now I only have Facebook.
Yep.
That's all I have right now, but I will have a YouTube channel. I don't know exactly when. I just have so much going on right now, but it's in the making energetically.
So I'll tell you what then, because I can always create a YouTube post when the time comes. Just send me a photo of you that you like. Send me a direct link to whatever the channel or the outlet that you decide to use, and I'll just drop that as a post on my community. And then, you know, people will remember you. The people that were here, they'll see it and they'll remember you, and they'll energetically line up. So when that time comes, and let that be part of the motivation to get your ass moving and get that channel up. I know. You know, go ahead and get that ass moving, girl. So let that be known. And I thank you for sharing, because, you know, Scorpios have that like lone wolf thing going on at all times.
I know. Yeah. It's coming out of my comfort zone. It's coming out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. So we're all in season. I've been meeting a tremendous amount of Scorpios lately, and a lot of them had to do with like 5th house. A lot of them had to do with the creativity. So AKA our expression, the dark parts to finally let us to express. And I think it's our season all year for the next, again, this year and a half, this transit, South Node in Scorpio is here, North Node in Taurus. We're all stepping to a more harmonious, simple life. We're recognizing that we can change the story. We can forgive. We can let go without that person apologizing. We can recognize that karma has its role in those people's lives that we feel we've held on to for so long. We've done so much for. Recognize, and I say this again for all Scorpios listening, this is your fucking year. You are finally coming out. You're finally done with a lot of karmic shit, a lot of it, like so much that you can't fathom it. And understand that her on here today, Tami, with 5 Scorpio placements, a moon in Scorpio, one that people fear so much, a Venus in Scorpio, one that people fear so much, Scorpio rising, Mars in Scorpio, oh my God, is in his exaltation, it was in its strength, Mercury's there. Like, listen, if you don't have that much Scorpio, you got nothing to fucking worry about. And I know a lot of people on here have Scorpio in their charts. I know a lot of you, I've seen a lot of your charts personally. I know y'all have Scorpio in there, but y'all don't got as much as Tami. So if you were having a bad day, you better turn that frown upside down and realize that, you know, there's other things happening in the world and it's so much more. Oh, and if you could see her today from this place of strength and integrity, then know that you have a way for yourself to experience joy, to experience life. All right. You're not here to only dig deeper. All right. You got to go use and explore that light. You know, those parts of light of yourself, those gems you discover, it's also your job to enjoy your life. You are still a human. Okay. Like, don't forget that. Not your entire existence doesn't have to be cosmic warrior mode, 3000%, 24 hours a day. Go take a break, you know? So this is my message for you all. I thank you, Tami. We'll see you soon. And this is enjoyable.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I love you.